Welcome into game number 2 of our doubleheader here this afternoon of the Lorain County Sports Network as we have Wellington taking on Black River. A little bit of a delayed start here as Wellington gets the ball first. They had a negative play on first down, but they respond with a nice run around the left side there by Levi Bosman, and it'll bring up around 3rd and 7 here for the Dukes.
Yeah, for Wellington, they have a big run game. Ryder Galloway, Levi Bosman on that play, as well as Carson Gardner. So expect those three to get the carries here today for this Dukes offense. Got to watch out for Lincoln Dietrich, the quarterback, as well. He could run it too. So explosive running offense, just like we saw in our first game.
That's right, and we fully expect that from each team here. And Black River, they have a little more diversity in their play calling. So both teams, though, certainly great at running the ball. Now Wellington will have Diedrich in the backfield. Snap will fly over his head, and he's going to try to get on it. Picks it up, and he's going to do what he can with it. Breaks one tackle of O'Connor. Stiff arms another. He's fighting upfield. He'll get to the 30, 35, 40, and then he's dragged down. So somehow picked the ball up at the 20. Ran over 20 yards on the play, over 30 even, but he's still going to come up just short of the line to gain, and maybe more than just short, a couple yards.
And that was great for Dietrich to make nothing into something. And we saw that last week for Wellington. They had trouble with the snaps, so they're going to have to work on that again here today. But want to make sure that doesn't happen again.
And they certainly will want to see that cleaned up, as it's hard enough to move the ball at this level, but when you're able to affect yourselves, it makes it that much harder, and it can somewhat affect the psyche and get in their head. So we'll see if they can clean that up here, as it appears they're going to leave the offense on the field for 4th down and 4.
Last week when we saw Wellington, they fell to Keystone 8-6, so they're looking to recuperate here today against Black River. Black River got the victory against Brookside last week, 16-8.
We'll see if they can carry that over here as they shut down a very good Brookside offense. And this pitch back is going to go out of the reach of, looked like Carson Gardner, one of those names you mentioned early on. So trying to get him involved, just timing was a little off there on the pitch.
And I don't know if that was a confusion on which play Wellington was going to run, or that was just a bad pitch by Lincoln Dietrich. But not a good first drive for Wellington, and Black River set up in great field position to start out on their first drive of the game.
Certainly a little bit to figure out now as the Wellington offense comes over to the sideline, and I'm sure they'll communicate that with their coaches. But now it gives Black River their first opportunity, and each time they've been on the Lorain County Sports Network here, they've been able to at least get a touchdown on the board every time, and like you said last week, get up to 16. So certainly have some momentum now.
And that was led by their quarterback, Anthony James O'Connor. Had a 9-yard touchdown run last week against Brookside.
Now they'll go with the double handoff here, and don't believe that's where they want that play to cut up at, but it's going to result in a loss.
Yeah, Lincoln Ford on the initial handoff, and then he pitched it to Mason Magan. Those are their two running backs for this Black River offense. So look them to be in the backfield here today, along with Carter Frost and Merrill Klein Jr. 4 running backs for Black River. They'll look to utilize those just as Columbia did in their first game. And these two teams met back in week 1 when we were at Firelands High School. They tied 6-6. So one of them is looking to finally come out with the victory here today.
That's right. They don't want to see a tie whatsoever. And, you know, it's interesting, that last play there, we've seen them try those double handoffs a lot, and you expect that to go back across the formation. So they'll try to get that figured out. Here on first down, they're going to throw it out to the right side, and that's going to be brought in by Mangan, but he's going nowhere. A couple of Dukes finishing off that hit aggressively.
And I was surprised there was no flag thrown on the initial hard count. It looked like Clayton Scarvelli jumped a little too early, but no flag was thrown. So I think Wellington got away with one there.
They may have, and now it's, I checked that. So that was 2nd down. Now 3rd down and 10, and that's even more crucial here, as that would have made a 2nd and 5 retry for Black River if they had gotten a penalty call to go their way. So now they'll come to the line, 3rd and 9, and they are one of the few teams that are equipped to operate from 3rd and long here without having to drastically change their play calling. So now Mangan, as well as Cody Cassidy are going to be split out to the right. O'Connor will fake the handoff and immediately go left. He's running behind lead blocker Lincoln Ford. He'll make a couple of moves, spin out of another tackle, and he'll be dragged down just outside the 10. So he moves the chains using his feet that time.
And sets up almost first and goal. They get inside the red zone. They're looking to take their first score and lead of the game.
Well, and, you know, common logic was defied last game as Columbia was the first team to score. And typically in these matchups here on Saturday, that gives you a great likelihood of winning, but they weren't able to finish that one off on top. So we'll see if Black River, if they score here, can kind of flip that script.
And we see it no matter the age level. Some teams are just second-half teams, and we've really seen that in Brookside this year.
Now back to our matchup here. Bobbled snap, but that's going to be pitched back very quickly. This time it looks like that's going to be the 13 of Turner Walter fighting his way forward, and he'll get down inside the 5. So they were able to utilize the pitch that time and hit a bit of the perimeter with one of those many running backs.
And you can hear head coach Anthony O'Connor of the Black River saying, "Get angry, get angry."
Certainly want to see that come across here as the closer we get to the goal line, the more competitive it seems to get. That'll certainly continue here. Be second down and 1 to go from about the 4-yard line. Black River getting their splits situated on the front line. Now O'Connor, bring a man in motion. He'll fake it to him, go around the right edge, and he's going to try to dive forward for the end zone. And they'll give it to him. Touchdown, Pirates, as they jump out to a 6-0 lead here with just 2.5 minutes to go in the opening quarter.
And we saw O'Connor do that last week against Brookside, again on that right side, and he runs right into the end zone for the touchdown and gives Black River the early lead.
And they're not content with keeping it at 6 or 7. They're going to set up at the 5-yard line, go for 2. We saw them do that last week as they were able to convert on a couple of conversions. So now O'Connor will bring the offense back up there, and we'll see what they have in store here for the point after try. He'll motion Mangan across the field, let him pass, and it looked like maybe one of the offensive linemen had an early kick step.
And that's a costly penalty for Black River. And we saw it in game 1, an 8-yard extra point, and now we have a 10-yard 2-point conversion.
Will most certainly impact what play they're going to call here, as they will swap a receiver, and another one will bring the new play call in.
I will say, in game number 1, we didn't really have as many penalties as we've had in the early weeks. And even though it's only the first quarter, I would say we haven't really seen as much as we're used to seeing, at least so far here this week.
I think you're right. That speaks to the growth and the development of these guys as the year's gone on. We're well over the halfway point now, and they're certainly having the message come across from the coaches. O'Connor is going to wind up, throw, has a man, and it's going to go through his fingertips, so that'll fall incomplete, keeping the score at Black River 6, Wellington nothing here in the first quarter of play.
And I don't know if Lincoln Ford stopped his motion or motioned into O'Connor, because as O'Connor took the snap and backed up, he ran into him, and that messed up his timing to throw downfield for that potential 2-point conversion. So I'm not sure who the guilty party was there, but that's something that they'll definitely have to talk over for next time.
Will definitely be a discussion over there on that sideline, and it not only have the penalty the play before and having that happen, so they may look back and have some regrets on only getting 6 out of that first drive. So now we'll see Wellington's offense for the second time. Here is Diedrich will bring them to the line. 2 receivers split out either side, and a running back to his left. Bring a man in motion. Won't go to him, but it'll be handed off instead to Carson Gardner, who's not able to get much of anything there on that first down play.
And we'll see who gets some bulk of the carries here today for Wellington. Last week, it was Levi Bosman. Could see Carson Gardner get most of the carries, or we could even see Ryder Galloway. So we'll see who gets a chunk of the carries here today. Like Columbia, Wellington is a team that doesn't like to pass that much either, so expect them to run the ball a lot here today.
Well, and those guys, they certainly are going to be needed and have to step up because you don't want all the pressure being on Lincoln Diedrich, and you don't want it to become too predictable where the defense can just key in and have a QB spy set up on him. So another high snap. He gets this one, but it definitely delayed that handoff and just gave that play almost no chance of getting going.
What a tackle and stop by Troy Davis of the Black River defense. Big play for them, and that sets up Wellington way back at the 30-yard line.
Well, a big play by possibly the biggest guy on the field wearing the smallest number out there. So
yeah, you usually don't see that. You usually don't see a lineman wearing a single-digit number.
Very interesting combo happening there on that second down play, as he's also the starting right tackle for the Pirates. So again, a little both-way play going on, and now it's a third down and long here for a Wellington offense looking to get something going here. Shotgun formation, they'll motion a man, fake it to him, and Diedrich gonna try to have some heroics happen. He makes a couple guys miss, but he won't get away in the end, as that's gonna be a great tackle by Jasper Landrum.
And if you're Wellington, you got to select a 25-yard punt, and I think that's exactly what they're going to do.
So they'll do the best they can to give their defense a better shot here on Black River's second drive, which we will bring you on the other end of this break here on the Lorain County Sports Network. We're back here for what is the final 30 seconds of the opening quarter of play here from Wellington Stadium in Wellington, Ohio, as the Dukes currently trail to the visiting Black River Pirates 6-0. Now we'll see the first handoff go in the direction of Carter Frost, but he won't get away, and it's not how you want to start a drive there if you're the Pirates.
And for the Pirates, they already have the 6-0 lead. You know, we've seen it in multiple games this year for the junior LC8s. They can take their time. They can take a whole quarter if they need to. We saw Black River against Keystone back in week 2, took 17 minutes and 30 seconds to score on their first drive of the game. So we know teams, it doesn't matter if it's Black River or not, they like to take their time on their drives. As long as they score, it doesn't matter how long it takes for them.
Well, that is certainly a core memory from this junior LC8 season. I mean, very impressive, not only the stability for that whole drive, but also just the fact that they were able to finish it with points. I mean, we've seen a couple times this year where teams are able to eat up a good amount of clock, or they're able to go the distance of the field but not finish those drives, and to combine 17 minutes and 6 points at the end of it just speaks to how impressive that, and how many different ways they have of attacking and scoring. So that'll be the end of the opening quarter, as flipping the field won't go very far here, just 12 yards in total, as the 25-yard punt a couple of plays ago from Wellington, because of the couple of mistakes and negative plays, it just didn't really give them that much more room after the punt. So it'll be asking a lot of this Wellington defense to come out there and get the stop. But Black River still 6 yards away from midfield and trying to get into plus territory. As it looks like there may have been some confusion on which side of the ball the teams were on, but now they're getting that corrected.
Monkey see, monkey do.
And it looked like once one of them goes in one direction, everybody else follows. Like, okay, that he's got it right. I'll trust him. So now they'll come back to the line. Second and we'll call it 12 yards to go here, with 9 minutes to start this second quarter clock. O'Connor just almost like just a pitch forward as he tries to get something going there, but what a huge hit that time laid on by Cody Cassidy.
And it just was forward just a tad, and they're lucky that wasn't picked off because that was in the air for a long time, even though it was a short pitch.
That's right, and my mistake, Clayton Scarvelli. I got to get the name right after a hit like that as he laid the boom there. And you're right, that did look like a design pass, but he almost thought it'd be quicker to go with the underhand option. So it'll give this offense of Black River their first adversity of the afternoon here. 3rd and 12 to go on the opening minute of the second quarter. And this time it won't be O'Connor under center. He'll go for the I formation, and taking the snap instead will be Lincoln Ford. He gets it, but immediately has to get rid of it as he got blown up, as did the rest of the play. I mean, Wellington with some impressive hits on this drive.
And they're reading the plays perfectly. Jordan Wiseman there on the hit to Lincoln Ford, and Lincoln Ford barely had time to pitch it back. They're lucky they didn't fumble that ball.
Yeah, I mean, he reacted to the snap quicker than anybody on that offensive line certainly did, and it leads to Black River opting for the punt. So now they will give the ball back to Wellington, who will try to give their offense another opportunity. We'll see what they can do with it when we come back here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Back here on the Lorain County Sports Network, and in each of those commercial breaks, you're seeing the logos of all the great organizations that are the reason we're out here and able to bring you junior LC8 football. Just to list a couple right now before this play: Jamie's Carpet Shop, shopping made simple. Also, Lorain County Prosecutor J.D. Tomlinson, Stay Safe, Lorain County, as well as Semper Fi Plumbing here on this first play of the drive. Lincoln Diedrich immediately rolls out to the right, and he's going to get a couple of yards there on the first down play.
And Wellington down 6-0. They want to try to score before the end of this first half. Want to gain some momentum, get the advantage over Black River. We'll see if they'll be able to do that here.
Well, we've seen a few times this season where their offense has been kind of in limbo, where they aren't able to string plays together until the second half, which has helped kind of get them back in games and even tie against this Black River team back in week 1. A few more of those great sponsors for junior LCA football on Saturdays: Brian Baker for commissioner on November 5th, as well as Rich Resendez for sheriff on November 5th as well. And now the Dukes coming to the line as Diedrich has had to handle a couple of those high snaps. He's going to try to hand it off, and Benson Seltzer gets a few yards on that play. Finishing off the other organizations, you'll see the logos up throughout the game today as we have Chris Kep of Slimans. Need a Jeep, call Chris Kep at 440-420-0681, as well as Zabo Apparel on Liberty Avenue in the Million. And you'll get a chance to see their logos and where you can find them at here as we'll step aside for an injury timeout. We're back here from Wellington Stadium as the Dukes offense will have a third down upcoming here as they try to come back from a 6-0 deficit at the moment to Black River. So this is the Dukes' third time getting the offense on the field. Haven't been able to find much success so far, and we'll see if they can change their fortunes here on a 3rd and 4. Diedrich rolling out right, looking for a man downfield. Only has one on this side of the field, and he's going to be chased down by the opposing quarterback, O'Connor.
And yeah, he was looking for Emerson Dumke on that right side, but was covered beautifully. Man coverage there by the Black River Pirates defense. It sets up a fourth and long for the Dukes.
And it appeared Bentley Perry was on an island there in man-to-man coverage as he was able to shut down that window you mentioned, Jared. And now Wellington at 4th and 8, as they lost a couple yards on that play, will keep the offense on the field. And this may be in search of trying to kickstart the game for them, get a little spark of momentum, as they haven't been able to do much this afternoon.
Yeah, they want to try to come back and tie this game up. We saw it the last time they faced Black River in week 1. They didn't tie the game until the second half, but that was with short time. So you would love to do it earlier, obviously, this time around. But Wellington on this 4th down has to convert.
We'll see what Black River has in store for them. More pressure. Dietrich, almost no chance to get away that time. Once again, Anthony O'Connor showing his impact not only on offense but here on defense.
And they had Carson Gardner wide open on that left side. Not sure if he would have got the first down, but it would have been a good gain if he would have checked down that left side. But unfortunately, Dietrich takes the sack, and Black River is in great field position.
And it appears that these pressures are also very strategic. They know Dietrich's at his best and most dangerous when he's able to roll out and kind of survey the field to the wide side. And on that drive, they gave him almost no chances at all as the blitzes came from the perimeter off the edge.
Well, that's tough as a quarterback to survey the field, so to speak, because I feel like that's an expression that for us fans and us sports commentators, like we feel like the quarterback has a lot of time to decide where to throw the ball. In reality, he doesn't. He only has 2 to 3 seconds to get rid of the ball before pressure is coming, or unless they just have a great offensive line. So.
And this afternoon, it's been even less than that, so certainly difficult to pull off, and gives Black River another chance on offense as we see them attempting out on the right side. Flag thrown in late, so we'll see who this is called on.
Lincoln Ford was on the carry, but I think it's going to come back due to a hold on Black River.
And you're absolutely right there, Jared, as that will set them back now from the spot. So it was thrown right around the line of scrimmage, so it'll be close to 1st and 20 as they attempt to keep this lead going and extend it. So now the ball will go all the way back to the 38 as we have just under 4.5 minutes to go in the second quarter now. So the Pirates will come back to the line, and the playbook here becomes a little bit more difficult. Obviously, they're comfortable with a lot of different motion concepts, so we'll see if they deploy that here, try to throw off the Duke's defense who's expecting a pass. Now rolling out left, O'Connor didn't even hesitate, no second thought about it, as he's going to get all the penalty yardage back and then some up ahead close to the 20-yard line.
And he had room to run that left side. It was a great lead block by Lincoln Ford. And like you said, Max, made up the penalty and close to the first down.
They'll officially give him 18 yards there on the rollout scramble. And it's going to make it a 2nd down and 2. As we get the yard marker up to the 20 now. And Black River in a much more comfortable situation than you would have thought after the holding penalty.
And they have time on their side. They got 3:20 left to go. They can convert on this first down. They can go into the half, gain a scoring drive, and tying it up.
So now we'll see them come back out in the I formation as Lincoln Ford pitches it back. Turner Walter going nowhere, though, and now not only do they lose yards, but it's going to be a 3rd down and long.
My, oh my, Jordan Wiseman is just a menace today for the defensive front of this Wellington's Dukes defense. That's his 2nd sack and big stop today, and he's just all over the place making amazing stops for this Wellington defense.
Well, you said it. He certainly would be a candidate on Friday nights for a couple of these collisions and big plays that he's been causing. So now it kind of bails them out after the O'Connor run on the previous play of 18 yards and sets up a 3rd and around 7. O'Connor back in the game at quarterback, and he'll bring Ford, who was under center last play, in motion, and he's going to follow him around the right side. Stiff arms one man. I believe that's Galloway he gets away from. Cuts it upfield, and he's going to fight forward for the first down.
But there is a flag. And it's going to come back to another holding penalty.
Well, we've talked about it before this year. That can be a struggle of trying to run on the perimeter a bit. In our previous game today, we saw a lot of runs out to the outside, and there weren't as many holding penalties as there have been here in this game so far. And that's the second time in 3 plays, I might add, that it's going to be a setback of 10 yards.
Yeah, after that big run by Anthony O'Connor, making up that first penalty means nothing now because they just cost themselves another 10 yards.
So they'll set up shop here for 3rd and long at the 35 now. Under 2 minutes remaining until halftime. And Black River with a 6-0 lead. Well, I would say they can afford to be conservative about it, but we did see how last game ended between Columbia and Brookside, where Columbia had a chance to go score before halftime. Chose not to be as aggressive, and it ended up costing them in the end. So we'll see what Black River chooses to do here. O'Connor is going to bring forward across the formation. They're going to give it to him. He's going to throw it, hits it as he lets it go, but it gets behind the defense, and that's going to be a huge pickup and a first down for the Pirates.
And we've seen it from Keystone, we've seen it from Columbia, and now we've seen it from Black River. The flea flicker play, a huge gain, huge play for Black River in crunch time with short time left here in the first half.
And our man on the cam right now, Paul Williams, putting that close-up in there beautifully of Mason Mangan as he was on the receiving end of that one to move the chains. And that's crucial. That turns what could have been just running the clock out of the half to now over a minute to go, and you're in striking position.
Honestly, kids this age run the flea flicker so beautifully because it's like backyard football. You're doing that anyways.
It certainly it comes as a surprise to almost everybody in the moment. And now we'll see O'Connor, no surprise here, as he tries to run away, gets out left, breaks a couple of tackles, but he's going to be stacked up and brought down around the 13 with another penalty flag.
And we have to assume another hold on Black River, and that is the case. That's the 3rd holding penalty for Black River on this drive.
And it's proven to be detrimental to getting any consistency going here. As
just a drive killer, because honestly, Max, Black River should already be in the end zone because they've had amazing plays here on this drive, big gains, but penalties just push them back even further.
Well, they've racked up enough yards to cover what's necessary, but the penalty yardage certainly has been a problem here. And now after that play, Black River is going to call a timeout with 39 seconds to go till halftime. We'll take one with them, and when we come back, we'll see what the Pirates and Dukes have in store to close out the first half here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Welcome back here as we get closer to halftime in our second of double header action here on the Junior LC8 Football League. We've been treated to a lot of exciting football so far and likely to continue here as that's a huge hit in the backfield. What a shot by Carson Gardner blowing up that play.
Carson Gardner read that beautifully, and Black River has not been able to really hand off the ball that well here in the second quarter.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, they barely have a second to turn around before a Wellington defender is on their back or running through them. I mean, this has been a great effort by the Dukes defense, who has been put in some tough spots today. So that'll lead to another timeout from Black River as we're at 27 seconds left here in the second quarter. We'll keep it here as we just came out of a timeout, and we'll have a lengthier one coming up for halftime. But just want to say appreciate all of you out there watching and being a part of Junior LC8 football here on Saturday afternoons. Don't forget to like this live stream as well as subscribe to our channel so that way you can watch all these great games we offer you, not only on Saturdays, but on Friday nights as well.
And make sure you follow us on Twitter and Facebook as well.
That'll be WOBL, WDLW Sports. And back to the action here. We'll have an incomplete pass as Turner Walter checked that Lincoln Ford, tried to put that one up, but incomplete, and also another penalty.
Black River tried to go for that flea flicker again. Now that's their 4th holding penalty on this drive.
Well, they can't seem to get out of their way at the moment, and the time does not get put back on, obviously, so they've been moving back, and, I mean, they were at one point at 1st and goal from the 10-yard line, so they're now set up 2nd and goal technically from the 33. Now we see them come back to the line here, spread out with O'Connor in the backfield, a man to his left. Snap is back, and he's immediately rolling left, looking downfield. He's got a man deep. He's going to try to connect, but that's going to be broken up. Looked like Jackson Dent for the Dukes breaking that one up before it could be finished off.
And that pass was intended for Lincoln Ford, and I'm surprised there wasn't a flag thrown because Jackson Dent didn't turn around in that coverage. So the fact that he didn't turn around, usually that's an automatic flag for pass interference, but no call is made. Great attempt by Black River, and that sets up a 3rd and long.
Yeah, that may have come down to the official trying to determine when the ball got in there. I know that can play a factor as well, so certainly a close call there as Dent and Gardner went up for it. 14 seconds to go here in the second quarter as Black River will now have 3rd and goal. Once again, from the 33. So now O'Connor looking for the snap. He'll get it. This time he's going to roll the other way. He's got a man once again slipping behind the secondary. This one bobbled a couple times, then dropped and through the hands of, I believe, Mason Mangan as he had a runway to the end zone.
And Mason Mangan, he was man coverage on Hunter Porter, and then Levi Bosman, the safety, went into the midfield, and as soon as he went past Hunter Porter, it was an easy 6 points, just not able to corral the catch.
Well, it looked like you said, the safety flying upfield and maybe a miscommunication. Obviously, Porter, assuming he has a safety valve behind him, was not the case by the end of that play. And that's one Mangan knows, looking back on, he'll be kicking himself for that. So we'll have another timeout here as I believe with just 5 seconds left, it'll be Wellington taking that one to get everybody on the same page here, because that's a couple times now where Black River's been able to gain a couple steps on them down the field.
And honestly, if I'm Black River, I'm running that play again because it works so well. Mangan was just not able to corral it. So I would run that play again. You have 5 seconds left. It's 4th down. You're down 6-0. What do you have to lose?
This will essentially be
up 6-0. Sorry.
This will essentially be the final play of the half as, yes, they work with that lead, and they'll now come back out of the huddle. And we'll see if Wellington chooses to react by putting anybody further deep. They currently only have 2 safeties back there right now. And it does look like they won't give major cushion either, so that maybe bump and run coverage to the end zone. We'll see who's got more speed on their side. O'Connor brings Mangan in motion, who will get a head start as he throws it into triple coverage, and that's broken up to end the first half of play here from Wellington High School. Right now, Black River will go to the intermission, holding a 6-0 lead here as the Dukes will try to respond coming out of halftime. We'll step aside for a moment as the teams take a break. When we come back, we'll recap how that first half went, how we got to our 6-0 score, and get you ready for the second half of play here on the Lorain County Sports Network. We're back here in halftime from Wellington High School as the two teams begin to finish their warm-ups. And right now we got Black River, who's on top 6-0 after what started as a fast first half for them has now become a bit of a tougher go at it, and that can be said for both offenses, as after the early score we haven't seen much consistency put together, and that could be for a couple different reasons, most notably penalties.
Yeah, both teams are making great stops defensively, but also the penalties have really cost both teams, especially Black River on that last drive. 4 straight holding penalties. And, yeah, they're looking to flip the script here in the second half, and we'll see if someone can come out with the victory this time around. As we mentioned back in week 1, Black River and Wellington tied 6-6 at Firelands.
And that is a result that we certainly could use a break in the tie here, as we're just 2 weeks away from entering the first round of playoffs. Playoffs, yes, you heard that right. We are going to see those begin likely on October 12th. But don't forget, we still have one more week of regular season. We are going to be coming at you from LaGrange, Ohio at Keystones High School Stadium next week, where we will see this same Black River team you've been watching the first half of today, as they'll take on Firelands. And then the hosting Wildcats will play Columbia. So an exciting conclusion on the way next week.
And that should be a highly anticipated game, Keystone and Columbia, because back in week 2 when we saw them play at Black River, Keystone got the victory 12-6. They had a great touchdown to end that game towards the end of the fourth quarter and was able to get the victory over Columbia. So it should be an exciting one. Those two are obviously bitter rivals in football, so it'll be a great game to watch.
Well, and of course, we saw Columbia drop one earlier today to Brookside, but back in that Week 2 game, it was so competitive, and we had a feeling those two would likely figure into how the regular season standings would end up, and then come playoff time, who eventually will come out on top with the crown, as Columbia is looking to make it 2 years in a row. They were able to win the Junior LC8 championship last season. This Black River team you're seeing was able, with a few of the same players from a year ago, was able to get to the semifinals where they were knocked out by Columbia. So certainly a very competitive league here last season, and that hasn't changed here in 2024. And speaking of those Pirates, they will get the ball on offense to open the third quarter. And they'll start by having O'Connor in the backfield with one man to his left. Mangan is going to motion over to the left, where he'll lead the way, as O'Connor able to fight through a couple of Dukes, and they'll give him close to the 40-yard line, so a nice pickup to start this drive.
It looked like Tristan Kent, number 11, had that initial tackle there, and a big stop for Wellington on their first drive.
So with that, there's an injury timeout on the field, and we will step aside as the players will drop to a knee, and we'll let them tend to the injured player. We'll be back here early in the third quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network. You're hearing the Wellington Duke cheerleaders get the crowd going here in the second half as they cheer on their Dukes, who are looking to defend a 2nd and 5 from Black River, and that's a low snap. It's fumbled. Not sure who ended up with it. Looked like Jordan Wiseman might have had a chance for Wellington, but I think Black River is going to maintain possession.
There was a flag thrown at the end of the play, too, so We'll see what that flag is.
It appears it might have seen the unsportsmanlike conduct signal. Tough to tell. But they're going to hit the Dukes, one of the Dukes, with a, like you said, dead ball foul. And I don't believe that was O'Connor taking the snap, so he may have been the injured Pirate on the previous play. So following that, they'll pick up the first down after the penalty. But another Black River player is down, so we'll step aside as they tend to him, and we'll be back shortly here on the Lorain County Sports Network. We're back here live from Wellington High School Stadium as the injured Pirate was able to walk off the field under his own power. And after the dead ball foul and the penalty called on Wellington, it gives Black River a first down. And it was a good start to the drive by the Dukes, making some nice tackles, but now they've just gifted a nice play set up here for Black River. Snap will go back, and that can be a problem of having a reserve quarterback in there as he ran into his backfield mate that time, and that's going to be a loss of a few yards on the play.
Yeah, that was number 23, Lincoln Ford, who backed up into it.
So after a quick transition there, we have another Pirate down, and that's a couple plays in a row now. They've lost a few of their players on offense, so we're going to have to see this Black River coaching staff adjust, as well as with the injuries now, the weather may become a bit of a factor here as we're getting some rain.
Yeah, it's supposed to start raining a little bit here and throughout the rest of the game, so might get a little wet for these two teams.
And it's likely more to affect Black River, whose offense relies a lot on motions, double handoffs, and especially shotgun snapping. Both teams do it a bit, but Black River does it a lot more. So we'll see how that dictates the play calling. O'Connor is back out there now, so they're able to regain one of their offensive weapons here as he is attempting to bring a man in motion, and he'll have, I believe, Bentley Perry set up next to him. Mangan will now motion. They'll fake the handoff to him. He's going to load up and pass it, no doubt about it. And that ball almost picked off. It looked like Porter was going to get it, and one of his teammates may have tipped it away by accident.
Yeah, Porter had it right in his chest, but unfortunately Carson Gardner ran into him by accident, and that could have been a great turnover for Wellington, had room to run. Could have been a pick six, and just not on the same page there.
Well, it's a tough break because he certainly had to have seen Turner Walter get a non-press coverage release off the line, and he may have thought the ball was going directly to him. Instead, it would have likely ended up in his teammate Hunter Porter's hands. And like you said, the pick six is always a boost, but also, I mean, this offense hasn't found many ways to string together plays, so that would have been absolutely game-changing.
And I think O'Connor also ran into his own teammate as well. That's what cost that throw there.
We'll see if the Pirates can figure it out here on 3rd and long. And they try the motion, but that play, like it has all day, is shut down by Jordan Wiseman. My goodness.
The man cannot be stopped. Almost looked like he jumped over the line when the ball was snapped.
He's flexing right now, letting his teammates know that we're not out of this game yet, fellas. And that brings up a 4th and close to 20 here. He's got to imagine the Pirates would not attempt to.
They haven't really need to.
Here.
They haven't really need to do the 25-yard punt because Wellington hasn't been able to do anything offensively. So I don't think they're worried about if they convert here on 4th down, but it looks like they have chosen to go for the 25-yard punt instead.
So they'll walk this out, and it'll get across midfield as we're just under 5.5 minutes to go in the third quarter here. We'll step aside with them as they flip the field, and when we come back, we'll see if Wellington can work on breaking down this 6-0 deficit here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Back here now, just over halfway through the third quarter, and another snap that went over Diedrich's head, but this time they're assisted by a false start, so in a way that penalty will work to their advantage. Either way, they would have lost some yards on that play.
Yeah, not on the same page there, and it didn't even look like everyone was set yet. I believe the center for Wellington is number 44, Mason Alexander, and him and his quarterback were not on the same page that time.
So now they'll look to reconvene here on 1st and 15. Diedrich will set up in the shotgun with Carson Gardner to his left. They'll have a motion. They'll give it off this time. That's going to be Benson Seltzer breaking through 2 tackles. He's got a lane there along the sideline, and he picks up the first down almost to midfield as him and Bosman get hyped after that one.
That was a great run by Benson Seltzer, and even a better tackle by Mason Magan, able to save the touchdown there for Black River, and near midfield now is Wellington.
I mean, quite a collision on that one, and both guys had to earn the yards gained in trying to shut it down. So now Black River will make a few substitutions after what was probably Wellington's best offensive play this afternoon.
They have 5 minutes and counting left in this third quarter, trying to get something going before heading to the fourth quarter.
And we've referenced it a couple times, but this is kind of similar how their week 1 matchup played out. And it's interesting to see how the two teams have changed, but also stayed the same since then, with a lot of their strengths being on display. Wellington's defense, of course, helping carry this team. Right now, the offense looking to return the favor. Low snap under center this time, so they've had problems in shotgun and now under center, and it's setting back the progress of these plays.
Yeah, due to that low snap and Dietrich not able to corral it correctly, Dietrich and Gardner ran into each other there, and miscommunication there on the snap and offensively, so that's going to push him back a couple yards.
And that's one thing that's really hurt this Duke's offense from being able to consistently put drives together, is getting behind schedule, and 2nd and 12 certainly fits the description of that. So under 4 minutes to go here on a running clock from Wellington High School Stadium, and we'll see Dietrich now back in the shotgun, brings Bosman in motion. They'll give it to him. He runs around the right side trying to find an opening, losing ground, but now gaining it back and shoved out of bounds right at that line of scrimmage. They may even say he lost a yard.
And Black River read that perfectly. We haven't really seen Wellington a lot today motion to that right side. It's usually that left side, and you can see why they're not able to get a positive yardage out of that play.
And it was a good job setting the edge. Said his name a couple times on either side of the ball. Bentley Perry playing the cornerback position over there. And he stands out because at corner he's wearing that 72. So we've talked about, obviously, some guys wearing the small numbers up front, and we've got a couple guys in the secondary.
It's whatever fits over the pads at the end of the day.
They'll make it work either way. And now Wellington's offense going to try to make it work here on 3rd down and 13 to go, as they're still looking for their first points on the afternoon as we get later into this third quarter. So here we'll see a motion as they'll fake it that way. Dietrich going to continue running out to the left, gets past one Pirate and chopped down on the plus side of the field. So they get a nice pickup there, making this 4th down a lot more manageable.
That was a great tackle by Carter Frost, really diving in towards the legs and stopping Dietrich from getting the first down. Saved that from the chains moving, but Wellington down 6-0. They're going to go for it here.
Well, and it certainly just feels like whenever Lincoln Diedrich has the ball in his hands, there's a chance something special could happen on the play, and he'll have to pull another one out of the hat here on this 4th down attempt. As the clock continues to tick, under 2 minutes to go for Wellington to work with in this 3rd quarter. Black River's defense has been able to stand tall each time previously. We'll see if they can do it here. Motion man will be Seltzer. He'll get it around the left side, forced to cut it up, and he's going to be tackled down. That's going to be close. Looks like the official on the bottom of your screen there's going to mark him at the 43, a yard and a half short.
Turner Walter with a great tackle to stop that offensive drive by Wellington. Gives his team a fresh set of downs offensively, and they'll look to add on.
That's a tough break there for Wellington, as now their defense, who has been very good today, is asked to make another stop, and Black River, who is operating a little bit more shorthanded after a few injuries on the previous drive, will have to try to come up with something here to give their own defense a break.
And don't get me wrong, Black River's defense has done great today, but especially in this second half, I feel like Wellington has won the defensive battle. They've had more big plays and big stops today. In general, I think even though they're down 6-0, like I said, don't discredit Black River's defense. Black River's defense is doing great today as well. But it just seems like Wellington's stops are more explosive and more noticeable today.
And they certainly come with a lot of momentum, as we've called a couple of their defenders' names quite often. This time they're going to run around the right side at that Duke's defense, but it's going nowhere. O'Connor, who had so much success with that to open the game, hasn't been able to spring loose yet here in this 3rd quarter. So now they'll keep it at the original line of scrimmage. 2nd and 10, as they're just a few steps away from midfield, as both teams have not really crossed into opposing territory too often today. Obviously, Wellington did on that last drive, but it was on the 4th down. They finally crossed midfield. So now Black River in no rush, as we're under a minute to go here in the 3rd, comes to the line. We'll see a pair of running backs in the backfield with O'Connor. Now a motion, and it's going to be a fake, and then a handoff the other way. Diedrich not fooled, as he gets a hand on the ball carrier and will bring down what looks like Carter Frost for a loss of 1.
And Wellington read that perfectly. Had guys lined up on both sides of that motion for Black River, and now it rains up a 3rd down and long.
Well, it's a good play in theory, trying to run to the side where you'd expect the motion man's defender to follow him, but like you said, Diedrich stayed home, and the home team now will have a chance to get the ball back to their offense with a 3rd and 11 upcoming as we change quarters to the 4th here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Stick around. We're back here for the 4th quarter of play from Wellington High School Stadium. as Black River's offense, holding a 6-0 lead, faces a 3rd and 11 to open the final quarter. Now they'll come to the line. Anthony O'Connor, who's bailed them out a few times, may have to do so again against what's been a very stingy Wellington defense.
O'Connor had a 4-yard touchdown run in the first half. That's all that we've been able to get here in this second game of the junior LC8.
When we see the official drop a flag, maybe a procedure penalty. O'Connor's still fighting no matter what, though, as he's going to get up ahead of the original line of scrimmage, maybe to the 45.
And they're going to call a holding on that one, but I thought that was an illegal shift or a false start. Either way, that play didn't look right for Black River, so that's going to push them back if Wellington decides to decline the penalty or accept it.
And so we do have a holding called. And, okay, so it did appear that Wiseman may have thrown off the timing of that play because he was lined up right over the center and apparently too close. So they'll call a penalty on him for in the neutral zone along with the holding, which leads to an offsetting penalty right there.
So that's a break for Black River, especially because they didn't get the first down. So they'll be able to reset and go again and hopefully move the chains.
And they'll have to do so from the same spot, 3rd and 11. Now that Wellington had a chance to see what 1 3rd and long play looked like, we'll see if that works as an advantage for them or not. As they do have a couple guys standing on that front line. Never know if they're going to drop or blitz, and it'll be a blitz right up the middle. Gardner trying to get in there. The pitch back is going to just go nowhere. A little bit further than you might have thought, but that's going to lead to a 4th and long now.
And Caden Gardner shot out of like a cannon, read that and timed that snap perfectly, able to get the huge sack for Wellington.
So now, before the 4th down, we'll take a timeout for an injured Pirate on the field. When we come back, we'll see what the Pirates choose to do here on offense on the Lorain County Sports Network. So we're back, and Black River, during the timeout, decided that they would elect for a 25-yard walkout punt, as there's still 8 minutes to go in the game here, so they didn't want to give Wellington anything too close to work with. Now the Dukes will start this offensive series with a nice little pass play going out in the direction of Levi Bosman.
That was a good check down by Bosman, trying to get him more involved down here, down the stretch, and a good first play for Wellington.
So it picks up a few yards there. Looks like they'll give him around 4. And this rain certainly hasn't deterred Wellington from attempting to go through the air as seen on that first play. And now it looks like Bosman will set up in the backfield next to Diedrich for this second down. Now we'll see another drop back pass rolling out. O'Connor, who wreaked havoc in the first half, trying to catch up to Diedrich. He can't, but that doesn't mean another Pirate won't show up to the party. Mason Mangan getting the sack that time.
And Bosman just missed his block there, wasn't able to set up an opening for Dietrich to make a throw, rolling to his right, and that enabled the sack by Mangan.
And it's interesting, you know, a lot of the pressure being applied, it's not necessarily for Black River, that is, it's not the D linemen. A lot of these linebackers and guys from the other parts of the defense are getting in off the edge and late to finish off some of these plays.
Well, we see it a lot in the junior LC, a lot of blitzes. So, especially at this age, you're not really designated as a lineman per se. You're kind of just designated where your strong suits are for the time being. You could be switched up, depends on how the offense lines up.
Very true, as now the lining up will be in the I formation despite it being 3rd and 11. We'll see what Wellington has in store here with just under 6.5 minutes to go. As we'll see a nice spin move made that time. That's going to be Carson Gardner. It won't be enough to get the first down, but certainly gets them closer here for this 4th down.
And down 6-0, you got 6 minutes left in this 4th quarter. They got to go for it.
No question there, as now we'll see the ball in Lincoln Diedrich's hands. And you wouldn't assume for the final time, but like we've talked about a bunch, the time, it can always just drain on you out of nowhere and just exit the scoreboard. As same can be said for this Black River offense, the time they can take up. And it's going to be that much harder here for Wellington as they're hit with a false start ahead of this 4th down attempt.
And both teams today costing themselves on great drives by penalties. And that was another one right there by Wellington.
It really has been the root of all the problems this afternoon of keeping drives alive. And now Wellington, they won't change formation. They will, check that. They will go back to the pistol. So they will operate here with handoff to the motion man, trying to get Benton Seltzer out in the open. It's not going to work, though. Black River shuts that one down. And with 5:20 to go, the Pirates are going to get the ball back inside the 35 of Wellington.
And if you're Black River here, you can just run out the clock. Yes, Wellington has 3 timeouts, but with 5:20 left to go, if you can get a couple first downs, you can ice this one.
Well, and you know that Wellington would like to save any of those if possible for their hypothetical next offensive drive, but they may not have that choice. And we'll see how much gas is left in the tank, so to speak, for the Dukes defense, who's played well, but once again, they're just being asked to do a lot. So now Black River will huddle back up here, and their offense will get another opportunity, and it's really stalled out. A lot of that having to do with the Wellington defense, but since that first quarter, really just haven't seen the same offense. It's almost like their identity has just been shifted on them.
Vanished.
Mm-hmm. O'Connor ready to go as he's looking over to his sideline. Ball will get back to him, and a couple players didn't move at the snap, and a flag will come out accordingly. I wasn't sure if anybody moved before, but certainly looked like a couple guys were stuck in stone after the ball moved. So with the flag being thrown at around the 40, it looks like it's in the offensive backfield, and haven't seen an official signal from any of the officials yet.
He did say holding.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, which I don't understand. I thought the same thing. I thought it was going to be a false start for Black River, but they do go with the hold.
And that penalty came out almost as the play started, so it must have been, once again, one of those very physical defenders for the Dukes making a holding happen early. Maybe the earliest I've ever seen.
Record time.
And they've got the guys to do that, to pull that off, because they've been very effective today at pressuring this Black River offense. Who now huddles up under 5 minutes to go on a running clock now. And we'll see them come out with O'Connor in the backfield, as he's also got Carter Frost to his left. Wellington making sure their safeties are deep enough, as they do have a couple receivers to handle over to the right side. Instead, they'll have to deal with a handoff on a motion. Lincoln Ford spinning out of one tackle but not getting away from the next. And what's been a grueling afternoon for Black River seems to continue, as Ford is slow to get up, and you can tell he is up, so we'll see if the officials have him take this next play off or not. As the Wellington defenders drop to a knee, but they'll get up, and we'll now see a second down. And might be too long to count, Jared. I might need a second and very long here for Black River's offense.
And with short time, Black River just going to run out the clock. They got 3:35 left to play.
So second down and 20 now for Black River, as our lead man of the crew making sure the live stream is up and running for all of you. Sam Sokol informed me his math is much better than mine, and he got that to me in quick time. Sam runs the stream. We've also got Paul Williams on the camera getting all these great shots this afternoon of the matchup here. And we'll now see the second down in action, as O'Connor makes one man miss, bounces through another tackler, and then eventually will be gang tackled down at around the 42.
And that was a great job initially by number 24, Gabriel Reese, breaking through that offensive front, but not able to bring O'Connor down. And O'Connor does a good job of breaking tackles and getting positive yardage for his team, but it's still third and long after all the penalties that they've committed on this drive.
Yeah, and that is what put an end to a potential scoring drive at the end of the first half. So now we'll see if they can change their fortune, if you will, as certainly even if they were to come out with a 6-0 win, the coaches, as well as many of these players, will know that it could have been a lot more comfortable, or made it a lot easier on themselves. So now Black River here from the 42. Set up to go. No Wellington defenders in a stance, so who knows where it's coming from. They send a couple. O'Connor will try to run away from it outright. He gets to the 40, and he's going to get shoved out of bounds that time by Carson Gardner. So we'll see. He's not going to get enough for the first down, but stops the clock by tackling him out of bounds.
And if you're Black River here with a minute 53 left and you're up 6-0, do you elect the 25-yard punt and pin back Wellington in their own end zone just for good measures to make sure, or do you go for it?
Yeah, and it's a great question here, because if they opted for the punt, I mean, Wellington, whose offense has had almost no consistency, no big plays, they'd have to start at their own 10. I mean, going 90 yards at any level is a very difficult thing to try, but now we'll see if
and I think that's what Black River is going to do. They're going to elect the 25-yard punt.
So they're going to put the ball in the hands of Wellington to try to make them overcome here, as, like I said, 90 yards to go will be the official count for the Dukes. And ahead of this final drive, we'll step aside, and when we come back, we'll see if Wellington can tie this ball game up. Want to welcome you back into Wellington Stadium here as the Dukes set up with a minute 45 remaining in the fourth quarter as they attempt a comeback drive here against the Pirates, and Lincoln Dietrich right away having to avoid 3 Black River defenders, and he's not going to get away.
Anthony James O'Connor applying that initial pressure, and Black River has done a good job of just applying pressure on Dietrich today.
Well, a drive that started at the 10 will now move back to inside their own 5, making things that much more difficult here for Wellington. As we were talking off air for a moment, as you know, Dietrich has the ability to get the ball down the field, but main question, will he have the time to do so? I mean, you're not going to be able to set up many long developing routes here.
Yeah, especially with a minute and counting.
So now they'll bring 3 receivers out to the right at the left side of your screen. He's got one man in the backfield with him. He'll roll that way to the right. Got to get rid of it. He makes a couple guys miss, gets out of the end zone at least, so the drive will stay alive. But, I mean, this pressure's something else. Not even rolling away from it has worked.
And Wellington takes their first timeout, 38 seconds left.
And they're in a tough spot here as they gotta come up with something, maybe implement one of their trick. If they have a trick play, we've talked about earlier this season that you may not want to pull out as many of them or all of them, save some for later in the season. Well, we're at week 6, the second to last one of the season. It certainly would appear to be a good time if you have one.
Yeah, that flea flicker that we've seen from a lot of teams around the league, something Wellington can do here, even though they haven't passed that much today.
And perhaps if there is another way that, because we have seen other quarterbacks for Wellington this year besides Lincoln Dietrich. Caden Gardner stands out as one who had some success earlier this year lining up as the signal caller, but we haven't seen him on offense too often today. Doesn't look like he'll go back out there. And Lincoln Dietrich will continue to be the captain of the ship on offense. So now they're going to, after he just barely got out of the end zone, set up at the 1-yard line for a 3rd and 19. Drops back, gets rid of it very quickly, and Bosman's got it. One man to beat, and he gets around him, at least for the time being. He gets upfield to the 30, and he's going to be pushed out ahead of the 30, or just behind the 30-yard line. So he got past the 20, which was the line to gain. Huge pickup there for Wellington.
A great swing pass as well, and a positive yardage, one of the best plays they've had all game. And they're going to, was he tackled out of bounds, or is Wellington going to take another timeout?
Tough to tell. Looks like the officials are going to stop the clock. And I believe he, yes, so he did get out of bounds there, and there'll be 25 seconds to go here in the game. That could be the big momentum boost that Wellington needed.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I would go to that play again.
It's worked well. Bosman, very fast player, and now you have some breathing room, not as much pressure when the goal line isn't at your heels. They'll throw it out his way again. Bosman over the shoulder. He's getting down the left sideline once again. Tackled out of bounds for another first down.
It's like they read my mind, Max. If it ain't broke, it ain't fix it. First down, positive yardage. They're nearing the 40-yard line, but I don't think they're going to have enough time. 15 seconds.
Yeah, and those plays, if you are in a 2-minute drill, come in well, but they did not start this drive with 2 minutes to go, and with a
more of a minute drill than a 2-minute drill.
You're absolutely right. As now they'll have Dietrich come over and get a play from one of his coaches here ahead of this 3rd play in a row after having some big positivity to build on. So we're at 15 seconds to go. The officials are just about ready in place here for the final bits of action here in this competitive ball game. We've been treated to a couple of weeks in a row now of some great contests, and it's only continuing here in the second of our doubleheader this afternoon. Wellington A little bit of confusion at the snap, and they're going to try to get it out to Bosman again. He gets a hold of it, gets away from O'Connor. He's fighting upfield to the sideline, and he'll get knocked out at the 47 with roughly 7 seconds to go in the fourth.
And Bosman, primary target on this drive for Wellington, and Wellington able to connect the pieces to the puzzle here. You just wish they would have done it a lot sooner. They're at the 48-yard line with 7 seconds left. They're going to need a huge play here if they want to tie this game up.
Yeah, and you talk about how many plays they may have left. At most 2, but one of them's got to be a huge chunk play that gets out of bounds. So we'll see if they can pull that off here. They've got 2 receivers split out either side, as well as Bosman in the backfield, and he's going to do his little flat route out to the left, and he can't get a hold of it this time. It was picked in, then dropped, so that could have ended the game. Looks like the clock will be, it's close to 0, but the officials are recounting a couple seconds maybe remaining. So they are, of course, monitoring it on the field as well.
And that was almost intercepted by Carter Frost there. Had it right in his hands, but as he came down on the ground, popped out. So Wellington will get one more play.
And man, oh man, 3 seconds left. This, barring any penalties or other craziness, we will see the final play of the game as Wellington looks to, at minimum, tie it here. But for Black River, obviously after tying in week 1 to Wellington, are looking to slam the door shut here and build up some momentum going towards playoffs. We'll see the same formation from Wellington this time, except Bosman will line up right. He's a lead blocker this time. Diedrich rolling, can't get away. He's going to be thrown down, as that will be the end of the game. Aiden Payne finishing it off for the Pirates.
That's a huge win for Black River, coming into enemy territory with their backs pinned against the wall, getting the victory over Wellington 6-0. What a great way to finish Week 6 of the Junior LC8.
You're absolutely right. And we are experiencing a freeze right now, so you're seeing us at the moment, but we're getting it back out onto the field. And that will be the conclusion of what was a very exciting game here from Wellington High School Stadium. And a 6-0 final. I mean, both defenses played phenomenally today, Jared.
Yeah, all it took was a 4-yard touchdown run by Anthony James O'Connor, and that's all she wrote. And Black River back-to-back weeks with victories. Last week against Brookside, this week against Wellington. So it should be exciting next week. We're in Keystone as they'll take on the Firelands Falcons. They beat them in week 2, 6-0. They'll look to make it 3 in a row, at least for us watching them.
That's right. We'll be looking forward to that, as that will be the regular season finale, so we hope to see you there and hope you tune in here. Like we've mentioned throughout the stream, please like this video. Also, subscribe to it and come back for the conclusion of the regular season and stick around for playoffs as well. But until then, big thank you going out to Sam Sovacool guiding our ship today, as well as Paul Williams on the camera, getting you all the great looks that you saw of the games this afternoon. My color commentary partner, Jared Viancourt, and myself, Max Drummond. On behalf of the Lorain County Sports Network, thank you for tuning in and have a great rest.